The whole house is burning down. The entire structure of the current system is going out. People ask, they be like, yo, man, why you voted for Trump? They be like, yo, why you voted for him? You know what I'm saying? I be chilling, watching some marathon videos, waiting for the game to come out. CBS will be on the TV in the break room. And, they'll call me out like, yo, why you voted for Trump? And they'll say that to try to gather up the other sheep in the room. As if I'm going to back down. And then I tell them exactly why. But I never say this. I've never said this before. Trump is the breaker of the system. And that wasn't an original thought of mine. I got that from somebody else. And when I thought about it, he's a businessman, not really a politician. So, as the unraveling continues and we really see who the bosses really are and who the final bosses in the S-rank demons really are. If you know what an S-rank demon is, shout out to all my anime fans out there, people that watch Demon Slayer, people that watch Sword Art Online, or if you just know the terminology of an S-rank. Maybe you're a fighting game fan. You watch tier lists of the strongest fighting game characters. The top fighting game character or the top 5, top 7 fighting game characters are called S-ranked. They are S-ranked. Rank as in how strong you are amongst the fold. In today's day and age, we're going up against different types of tiers of power. Not tiers of power in how strong your character hits with a heavy punch or how much priority they have doing a special move in Street Fighter. We going off rank of how much priority they have with the law. With connections and network. With how much influence they have on the inner workings of the system itself. How untouchable they are. As the story unravels with Jeffrey Epstein, you realize not even how powerless the president of the United States is. Because the president still has the power to push a button. It all goes down to what button is the president willing to press. Because when certain buttons get pressed, certain parts of the system are going to fall immediately. Certain people that feel like they're trapped in a corner. When you trap an animal in a corner, that's when it's at its most dangerous. As the files keep coming out, as people keep digging through the files. Oh, shout out to Ian Carroll. I stopped looking through the files because I need something better to look through the files with. So whenever Ian Carroll comes out with his technology, his AI technology, that'll help us search through the files in a ChatGPT format. That'll help us put together our own hypothesis, and ChatGPT will help us form that hypothesis, or a ChatGPT like AI will help us form a hypothesis with our searchings of the Epstein files without us doing it one by one. I chose to stop looking at the Epstein files and just go off of what I've already read. Jeffrey Epstein was one of the final bosses of this current system. He was one of the final bosses. He wasn't the final boss. Epstein discussed COVID. Epstein discussed the banking system many times in those emails. He discussed working with his clients and trafficking whoever he was trafficking towards his clients. His clients was casually discussing torture videos, using his apartment, going to his island. A lot of people lied when they was told or asked about Jeffrey Epstein. They asked, yo, did you go to Jeffrey Epstein's island? No. I.e., an example being Howard Lutnick was one of the main ones that has kind of tarnished his name and left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, because you said you was disgusted by him, and then you had multiple meetings with Epstein and actually went to his island with your wife and kids. So as the truth unravels itself, and as people start to spread out, fly out, roach like roaches when you turn the light on in the kitchen. Well, I'm far past those type of days. We live in a nice crib, clean house, but we came from somewhere. We remember when we went for a midnight snack, turned the lights on in the kitchen, and all the roaches just started spreading. The light seems very bright on the names that show themselves on the Epstein list, but not just show themselves doing things that are questionable. Recently, in these past events in the culture, in the news cycle, people have been finding that Trump was a FBI informant and actually told on Epstein and was one of the people that got him locked up in 2008. So when your name is in a file, that don't mean actual implication. But the propaganda is so wrong and people are so stupid, so strong. The propaganda is so strong and the people are so stupid that we forget the meaning of words. And what I do understand about today is, if you believe something, it don't matter what it is. If you believe something to be right, it don't matter what somebody else tells you to try to prove you wrong. You already got your mind set. And then if your mind is already set, when somebody tries to prove you wrong, you're going to come up with a different hypothesis to keep your point, to keep showing yourself being right. So I told people before this came out about Trump and Trump being an informant, I told people that he told on Epstein and Epstein ain't like that. Now, to the viewer out there, I know you might be one of the viewers that just a Trump hater. You hate everything Trump. They told you to hate Trump and that's what it is. But I want you to put this math together for me, all right? I want us to do a little bit of math. Maybe I'll change your mind, maybe not. It's awfully funny that after Trump told on him in 2008 and got him locked up the first time that tarnished his name for him to have the pedophile jacket, it's awfully funny that before and after he became president, how much of the narrative switched, how much of Epstein's friends and people a part of his network came with a game plan to paint a certain narrative on the businessman that became a politician. It's awfully coincidental that during the Trump administration, the first time, after he dies, we find out that he's been talking about COVID for a while. And then right after he dies, COVID happens. Conveniently. He dies, COVID happens. His death is still mysterious till this day. People say he's got strangled. This wasn't a suicide. You see videos and rumors of him being in Tel Aviv right now, still running the show, still being a CIA asset right now as we speak. Watching certain videos of him being in a deposition and him being very comfortable. They asking him questions and he's like, yeah, whatever. Very comfortable. As if he's untouchable. As if somebody is behind the curtain protecting him. Somebody very, 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 very powerful protecting him. Protecting one of the S-ranked demons of this reality. You see, Alex Wessner has been mentioned in the files. Maybe he's one of the S-ranked demons. The rumors and his reputation is out there, and it's very polarizing to not think that he's not one of the S-ranked demons. To not think that he is one of the S-ranked demons, it's hard to not think that. It's hard to not ask the question, why did he give Jeffrey Epstein a $100+ million mansion, $100+ million apartment in New York City? What was his motive? Why he did that? A lot of questions being asked. Then you go to Bill Gates, you could call another S-ranked demon. A guy that has proclaimed himself to be a doctor, that knows what's best for us in the health industry, how to take care of ourselves, how to be healthy. The guy that wanted to make a whole bunch of vaccines, right? A participator in the COVID event. But in the same breath had to ask Jeffrey Epstein, a man who was not a doctor, on how to get rid of his STD and to get rid of it with his wife as well by sneaking it. Maybe in her drink, in her food. Somehow he needed advice from Epstein. Right? You look on the files, it shows the truth. Bill Gates don't know what he's doing. Bill Gates is an amateur at getting girls. He became a billionaire, had to have somebody who had access to the girls to get him girls, because he just never had that game to get girls. He got all this money and he deals with his wife that probably only let him have sex once or twice with her a year. Maybe even less than that. But had to have a guy that had all the connections to the hot babes, right? Had to have all the connections to the hot babes. Billionaire. Had no connections to the girls. Had no ways to break an ice with the girls. Not attractive. Had to be sold. Maybe, allegedly, clients that Jeffrey has trafficked. as the story unravels with the Epstein files, things get uglier and uglier. So people see all these things happening, they say, why don't Trump just put out the rest of the files and let's see what happens? There's a lot at stake that you don't know. There's a lot at stake that I don't think you're comfortable with, because people are begging for these files to drop, but they don't understand what type of implications they come with on the back end. They don't understand that their entire way of life will change in 24 hours. Your entire life will change in 24 hours. This is not a joke. This is not a game. There are people that they can't redact in them files. No, there are people that they must redact in them files. As I'm going through how they're thinking when they're going through the files, there are people that they must redact. One is the victims. How they finesse you and I is they'll tell you, we gotta be careful on who we put name out there, because they might have never did nothing, and that'll be embarrassing for them. In the same breath, they'll send out an email saying something about a torture video. Yo, I really like that torture video, to Jeffrey Epstein, but the person that is from his name, her name gets redacted. The person that liked the torture video, their name gets redacted. Ain't that peculiar? Very, very peculiar, right? So you gotta ask yourself, what is at stake for them to still redact that name? I tell you, because people obviously don't understand. People live in these small bubbles. They live in the micro. They've been living in the micro. They've been living in the micro in their heads for so long. They never see the macro. They never understand how delicate this banking system actually is. How delicate the financial system actually is. Don't you realize, since the Epstein files came out, how the stock market tanked? Don't you realize how much they tanked? How much Bitcoin tanked? How much this one, and that one tanked? These cryptos tanked? You don't think one of these super powerful billionaires that might have been in the Epstein files started cashing out their Bitcoin? Selling? Panicking? It's not coincidence that right after the first 3 million came out, Bitcoin shot down to 65,000, 68,000. That's not coincidence, bro. You keep listening to media, but you're not drawing your own conclusions. You're not doing your own mental math. You're waiting for somebody else to do your math. You're waiting for CNN to do your math, CNBC to do, MSNBC to do your math, ABC to do your math, Fox News to do your math. You're waiting on these television companies to do your math when you got your own brain in your own head. That's why you got TDS. But I understand it though. I never said Trump was the perfect guy or the perfect president. Nobody's perfect. But nobody could do as good of a job as he's doing right now. I'll tell you that. Now somebody's gonna ask, what you mean he's doing a good job? You know, all these ICE, the Gestapo. Somebody told you that there was the Gestapo. Your brain couldn't come up with its own conclusion about ICE. Your brain couldn't come up with its own conclusion of how long ICE been around, who's been working with ICE? Why now the television screen is showing you whatever ICE is doing? You're not doing the math. You're not even looking for the numbers because you don't care, actually. You didn't vote for the last 3 elections. But the politics topic is so trending right now that you want to join the in crowd. You want to join the other sheep. You want to make sure that you're not left out. There's only one Adolf Hitler. There's only one. There's only one that has ever existed. But you chose to take on a narrative that this guy that's using the same people that Barack used to send the illegals back to their own country, that he's a Nazi. When are you going to come up with your own conclusions? During the Epstein files, as the Epstein files unravel, because this is the Epstein file era. This is the era of the Epstein files that we're in right now. It's so powerful and so polarizing on how evil and sadistic that these people are in these files that seem to be eating babies while doing the other very bad activities to small children. The worst activities. All rumors now debunked to be complete fact. But we don't know who these names are, who these people are, who are these reptilians, these other S-ranked demons. We don't know who they are. Will we ever know who they are? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if we're ever going to know who they are. Maybe the stakes are too high and the financial system that we thrive off of, maybe that is too much at stake. Maybe it's too much to be at stake for the president of the United States to be like, hey, we're just gonna, fuck it, let's take everything. Let's tell on them. Let's tell on them. Let's just go tell on them. Let's just go tell the American people. I'm walking outside today, right? And I'm at Sam's Club. I go and get me some cashews and I get one other item. Right? And it's one line to head out. It's one single line. And there's one person with a scanner that has to scan your cart, that has to scan your phone, your barcode in your phone. If you did the scan to go, they gotta scan your stuff and they let you go, or they scan your receipt and let you go. So this big one line, and then this other line that's non-existent. Another person skips, goes to that line that's not an actual line. There's nobody there in the front with a scanner. He goes and tries to cut everybody off. He goes up there and argues with the lady with the one scanner that's on our line. And in my head, I'm like, yo, why is this man making things difficult? And then I realized he's not even doing this purposely. He's just stupid. His brain could not come up with the conclusion that because everybody is in this line, and the other conclusion that there's only one person scanning, that you can't skip this line because the only way you're going to get out is if this one person scans your card. He couldn't come up and comprehend with that conclusion. So when you're not that intelligent, you go to emotions and argument. You go to making a scene. You go to showing that you're confused, not knowing what you're doing, and then your brain automatically goes to aggression and anger. A lot of people more often than not, are that way. They can't come up with their own conclusions. They don't know how to ask questions or what questions to ask because their brain simply does not know this skill set, have the skill set to do that. So when it comes to these Epstein files and them putting out 3.5 million files, there's a lot of people that can't read on their own. They can't, if you tell them to read out loud, it'll take them 5 minutes to read 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. Like, the elites and the other way double S, triple S ranked demons, the John D. Rockefellers, the J.P. Morgans, all them people that own the education system, the banks, the people that dumped you down from the start, that made sure you ain't know how to use your brain from the start. They designed this thing just like this. The No Child Left Behind programs. The you can pass now with a 60 grade, 65 grade. I remember when I was in private school, if you didn't get a 70, you failed the class. They just kept dumbing down the skill ratio, dumbing down the prerequisites to get to a certain level. They kept dumbing it down for people. And they disguised it as No Child Left Behind. Oh, we're just helping you out. We're just helping you out. Right? We're just helping you out. You know, I think we need you. While also money laundering and using that money to from whatever program they use and to get funding from the government, they use that to funnel. Let me get this money to buy my Bentley, to buy my Benz, to buy my to trick on these bitches on the side. It's a deep game. It's a crazy rabbit hole that the mind of that person that was in that Sam's Club would have never comprehended. Somebody would have to tell him that. And if somebody told him that, he'll have to be told that 3, 4, 5, 6 times in order to really get it. The chosen ones are the ones that can understand. That's who the chosen ones are. The chosen ones are the ones that could comprehend, come up with their conclusion, have a substantiate their argument, realize the macro, see the end of the story as it's folding. Nah, don't tell me what's gonna happen at the end of the movie. I know what's gonna happen already. I didn't even watch it yet. Oh, this movie's so interesting. Let me keep watching it, and my brain gonna come up with it on its own. You ever watch the movie with somebody and they ask you what just happened? Like every 5-10 minutes? The scene was so simple, actually riveting. Certain key things in the story has just been told, and those people still would ask, yo, what does that mean? What just happened? Who's that? That's the dilemma we in right now with these Epstein files. They can't listen. They only listen to their thoughts and they only listen to how they're going to respond. They're not listening to understand. They can't understand. They're not capable. Their brain has been so fried from TikTok, from the stresses of their job, from being poor, not eating the right foods, eating hot Cheetos, buying OnlyFans. Just the dopamine in their brains have been so fried. They have no hope left. So their cells understand that they don't got hope left. So their brain and their knowledge and their intelligence doesn't grow. It's just stunted at one spot. The elites notice. The real S-rank demons notice. They know that you are incapable of understanding how deep this rabbit hole goes. So the likes of an Alex Jones, the likes of a Candace Owens, The likes of whoever you follow out there that has common sense and that really breaks down detail, those are your only hopes. Everybody else is sold out. Everybody else has succumbed to the elites, the upper moon ones, the Kokushibos, the Akazas, the S-rank demons in the hierarchy of this confusion and chaos. You stand no chance because your brain has already been, you're already been doomed since you was in school. You wasn't one of the gifted kids. I was one of the gifted kids. People like me, people like the ones even smarter than me, we're minorities. It's hard for us to be led like sheep. We come up with our own conclusions. Might not have that many friends. Maybe we do, but it's a tight circle. We're always available to teach, but we're not going to reach out to teach. Because we understand that this shit is hard. This is a hard pill to swallow. Right? Trump can't tell on these people because the system that you and I thrive off of will fail. Utterly shut down. Over. That's why they keep redacting the names of not just the victims, but the names of the clientele. They're gonna redact them. These people have endless money and endless money for lawyers. In the justice system in the United States, the innocent until proven guilty thing is not really something that works for us. It works against us once you have enough money. When you got enough money, you will always be innocent. Unless you're dead to rights. An email is not necessarily enough to put somebody in jail. And the lawyers that really know how to do their job, they can argue that. They can litigate that. They can create reasonable doubt that'll help the case. Oh, this is just an email. What are you talking about? All lawyers got to do is create reasonable doubt. And when you're going against an all-powerful S-ranked demon with so much money, so much connections, they could send a hit with just a call, phone call. What are you really going to do? They're almost as powerful, if not more powerful, than the U.S. government itself. Because the U.S. government is not united we stand, divided. It's not united we stand. It's more divided we fall. Because it's divided. It's bipartisan. It's everybody got their own agendas. Some people that work in the Congress right now don't like America. Isn't that a crazy thought? People that work in under a nation's government don't like that nation. Manchurian candidates. Living, breathing, getting money off the American taxpayer dollar right now. Your dollar right now. You can't do nothing about it. They spread the propaganda. Yo, we don't like America. Yo, we trying to bring illegals in from this country, that country, this country. We want to destroy it, but we're gonna paint it as, yo, we're just helping these people. You fell for the propaganda, not knowing that you are utterly under a spell that you just can't get out of. Because ever since you went to school, that first year in middle school, you've been programmed, and you never thought to yourself, is this a program? How can I get out of this program? How can I outthink the program? You never thought of yourself since the first grade. But yeah, that's the end of my episode, man. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you gathered some useful thoughts from this episode, please come like, subscribe to the channel. Open your eyes so you can really see. God gave you eyesight, gave you ears so you can hear, a mouth that you could speak, and you don't use any of them to develop that brain. I'm out of here.